Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Ball Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have the names on the marquee reverse. Looks like Pyle sitting on the other side of the table. Perhaps some mind games on his end. I'm actually on the right side of the table playing Cephalid Breakfast. Pyle on SnOko. And a swamp into Arkham's Astrolabe, Snow-Covered Basics. The new Rage here in the format, providing rock-solid mana bases that are silky smooth with the addition of Arkham's Astrolabe. Once upon a time, it's going to get a land or creature out of the top 5. Not actually sure this card's going to make the cut in the final build of this. Just started to play around with Cephalid Breakfast again thanks to the printing of Thassa's Oracle and an Aether Vial coming out, which could prove to be a big problem for this counterspell-based deck. Ponder, digging. Breakfast with 4 ponders, 4 brainstorms. No preordains yet. May or may not be a consideration. It's got a couple of Limdul's vaults in there right now. 2 once upon a times. Shaved down on the number of those. Probably not going to end up keeping it in there. We'll see. It is a very explosive, fast deck in one of its modes. It can play as a combo deck or as a Stoneforge deck. We'll see what ends up being the mode of choice in these games versus this very solid control deck. Baleful Strix, a card that can often serve as creature control. End of turn, Aether Vial, putting in Nomad and Core. That's getting fatally pushed. And now another Ponder. Vial at 2 counters. So Cephalid and Stoneforge both going to be uncounterable at this point through the use of Aether Vial, and the shields are down. Another Nomad and Core. And that's going to actually get a Force of Will. Daze, countering the Force. And now Cephalid Illusionist. And we are off to the races here. Game 1, not likely to have any type of interaction from this point. There's going to be Cabal Therapies going into the graveyard as well, so even if Pyle trying to sandbag a Force of Will or some additional permission, that's going to get likely stripped right out of his hand. There's going to be 5 bodies on board, 2 Narcomoebas plus the original 2 that started the combo. Oh no, perhaps a Narcomoeba stranded in hand. So it looks like a single therapy going to be possible. And then the Dread Return for Thassa's Oracle. And that is it. Game 1. Breakfast taking down a game versus one of the stronger decks in the format. We'll see if this deck is more real or more meme. As these games unfold, I'll be keeping it together. Definitely want to at least evolve it to get it as good as it can be. The mana base requires some consideration. I don't know if I want more Dazes in there as well. Cabal Therapy could be joined by some additional discard, though to be fair, that doesn't really feel ideal with all of the Veil of Summer running around. Right now this is like a 4-color build. It has to be blue and white, and black is nice for being able to cast Cabal Therapy. In theory, casting Dread Return as well. Limdul's Vault, the only black card in the deck that you're actually intentionally paying black mana for. And right now there's green for Once Upon a Time and some sideboard considerations like Veil of Summer. And I'm really not sure that's worth it going for color, to be honest. Probably not. Though it is an Aether Vial deck, you don't really care that much if people are going off after your mana base compared to many of the other decks in the format. Not quite to the point where I feel like I want to be running Wasteland with this. It is very much a combo deck with the ability to play as a Stoneforge list as well. It looks like Aether Vial on the other side. Inquisition of Kozilek is going to have a bunch of choices, including Veil of Summer. It looks like just a Tundra for mana, however. Brainstorm being taken. Abrupt Decay in hand. Should be able to make short work of this Aether Vial before Veil of Summer comes along and is able to protect it. Fetch land. And now a Mother of Runes. Couple of Force of Wills on the other side there. Cavern of Souls could make those Force of Wills not quite optimal. One of the interesting things about this deck is you do actually have to resolve that final card at the end, which is the Dread Return. So, for example, if you can make your Cephalid uncounterable, that doesn't actually make your opponent's counter spells useless. You've got your Cabal Therapies that you can hit, and as long as those things line up, you can potentially strip the rest of the counters out of their hand, but it's not guaranteed. Pulling up the Oracle text for creature types, and that is probably not a good thing. Oh, it looks like he does have a Plague Engineer in hand. Plague Engineer devastating in so many matchups. And this is going to be a little bit of a check to see if the deck can win through a Plague Engineer. Unfortunately, this Stoneforge Mystic looks like it grabbed SnOko instead of Batterskull. I think actually Batterskull was sideboarded out. I think I learned a pretty valuable lesson in this match. My thought process at the time was there's no way that a deck like this is going to be able to grind out a win with Batterskull facing down the amount of control on the other side of the table. And I actually don't agree with that assessment after this match. I think I absolutely would keep in Batterskull as a consideration. The problem, of course, is Oko makes a fool out of Batterskull when you're not able to return it. Even if you are, they can upgrade or downgrade, however you want to say it, your Stoneforge Mystic. So you know, at that point, now you've got to pay 5 mana for your Batterskull, in which case he can just Oko that on the next turn. Veil of Summer could do some heavy lifting in protecting both your combo and your permanents from Oko, but clearing him is an awful lot to ask. So much loyalty. And a little complicated game state. These Plague Engineers not actually the biggest threats in the world. SnOko going to swing for 2. And it actually should get passed back here. That would be better. I do recall this game state now that I think about it. Usually when I do matches that I'm in, I try and mostly forget what went on and react to it in real time without having any type of kind of bias built in. But it looks like a SnOko being passed back would have been able to block and kill a Plague Engineer. Oh, and there was a double block. Okay, so that's fine. Double blocking with the Nomad and the Stoneforge. 2 damage in the air. Arkham's Astrolabe. And again, SnOko should have been passed. Nomad could have traded with a Plague Engineer, or at least kept him back, slowing down the clock. 3 damage. A Ponder. Clearing out some suboptimal cards off the top. And 5 more damage coming in. Brainstorm end of turn. Not great with Leovold out. It's going to be drawing 1 card, putting 2 back. And fetching. Desperate times. Nomad and Core. 3 damage coming in. And again, the SnOko should have been passed. Very interesting game state here. Three more damage. And now, finally, the 0 mana equip ability being taken advantage of. Brainstorm for Pile. And now a Snapcaster should be able to clear out this Nomad pretty easily. As long as he doesn't pick a black or blue removal spell. Oh, and he does! Abrupt Decay, stopped by the Veil of Summer. And it looks like perhaps a Assassin's Trophy, which is of no consequence at that point. Enough damage going to get through thanks to the body on the Snapcaster as well. So kind of a weird, grindy game. Could have been played better on my side. Would have complicated things greatly. Probably would have drawn it out, seen some more card draws. And Batterskull probably needs to be boarded in. I don't actually remember if I did bring it in. It's a very busy weekend. Yeah, Cephalid Breakfast may be the real deal, or it may just be a joke deck. We'll have to see. I'm going to put some effort into it. I think there's something to be said for a turn 2 combo kill with Cavern of Souls backing you up. I mean, it's very interesting. Narcomoeba feels really bad. I'm not going to lie. Drawing that card is pretty terrible, but it does pitch to Force. The deck can't really make great use of Force of Negation. Most of the time when you're using counter spells, it's to protect your own combo. There's Eladmari's Call as a consideration, Recruiter of the Guard, a bunch of different potential tutors. So far, Limdul's Vault's been very strong. Aether Vial, very powerful. I think Grand Arbiter probably makes it in. A Grand Abolisher? Yeah, Grand Abolisher. The one that makes it so your opponent can't play spells on your turn. He's a 2 mana for 2 white that allows you to vial him in. he does become more attractive when you have more tutor targets, when you have more tutors as well. And here we have Aether Vial on turn 1. Resolving Thoughtseize, seeing a couple of Stoneforge Mystics along with some cantrips, a practically Thoughtseize proof hand. That hand will continue to do what it was going to do anyways. And now a Ponder. Most likely needs to find a second land for these Stoneforges to be of any use. You can tutor up a SnOko. If you happen to draw your Cephalid Illusionist, then of course that would be phenomenal. But other than that, you're probably going to need to actually use the Stoneforge's activated ability, and it looks like a land is found. Fetching into an Abrupt Decay. And we've got a Brainstorm in response. Perhaps looking for a Nomad in core. Stoneforge coming down. Force backup now for breakfast. And that's going to grab Batterskull. Arkham's Astrolabe. Draws a card, and it's actually looking very bad here for SnOko. Once 5 mana is achieved, things get really messy. Batterskull can get picked back up at 3 mana. And the Germ actually being killed. I'm not actually sure what... Is that a... Might be Abrupt Decay. I'm not sure what that removal spell is. Removal spell taking out the Germ. Ponder here. Now would be a good time for Oko. No, no dice. Oh, and Limdul's Vault. I actually recall this. This is probably the play of the match here. Force of Will forcing back. And I think with this particular setup with Force in hand, probably the right play would have been to try and grind things out with the Batterskull. Instead, going for the combo. This will definitely require a lot of testing to kind of figure out. Now we got a Nomad in core and the Cephalid. And the milling has begun. At this point, need to hit a Cabal Therapy in all likelihood. There's the Dread Return. Still no therapy. There's the Thassa's Oracle. So therapy super low. Ideally what you want to be able to do is, and he's got the Surgical. So ideally what you want to be able to do there to play around that is hit your Cabal Therapy early on and then therapy the Surgical out of your opponent's hand. From that point, you're talking about Surgical Extraction or Fairy Macabre, probably the only cards that are likely going to impact you to a lesser degree in this format. Ravenous Trap, but whichever version of that card you think your opponent's going to be running, you could actually mill until you hit a Cabal Therapy, and it looks like that was not... Oh, it looked like I sideboarded some therapies out, so no real complaint there. Those therapies would have potentially been able to save that and change a sudden defeat to keep the course for victory. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.